Do you know what this is?
You had to buy the toy.
This is the Zord.
Oh, look at this.
And actually shot fire out of the cannons and out of the mouth.
One of the unsolved mysteries of Power
I think
Rangers.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I'm Rick Shick. This is Behind the Power with Paul Kelly, my good friend from
The Reluctant Adult Podcast.
All right. So we're going to talk today about this sucker. Do you know what this is?
This is the original Bandai Titanus, but it looks like he's had a bit of a custom job.
He has, because this was actually in the show. So when, in season 2, I guess, at some point the Rangers needed to get together with Titanus. And they no longer had their original Zord. They had the Ninja Zord, they had the apartment complex Zord. So
The Shogun Zord, sure, yeah.
So that had to get together with Titanus, and we were tasked with making that happen as a visual effects artist on the Power Rangers show. I went and bought the toy, and then
Wait, they didn't have, like, wait a minute, hold on. You had to buy the toy, you, like, went to Toys R Us and you, like, used your own money. First of all, amazing that they had it in stock, because Power Ranger toys, like, I had my mom call in all hours trying to get me the Dragonzord.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, so you were like, when I was buying the toys, you were one of the kids that I was looking at thinking, if only these kids knew this toy is going to be in the show.
Yeah, that was me.
Because I used to think that myself when I was at the store. So this, I probably, if this is the Japanese version, I probably got it at a specialty shop in Santa Monica.
Okay.
There was a shop that just had toys from Japan. So if the American version wasn't ready yet, but I'm guessing if this is season 2, there already was a Titanus. So this could have been Toys R Us, or it could have been the specialty shop, just because that's where I knew it would be.
Okay.
So I got the toy, and then I had to have 2 of them because this canon does not replicate.
Oh, look at that. You can see so they didn't, Bandai cheaped out a little bit. They didn't make it a full function.
Yeah.
It's like no one's going to see the inside of it.
Yeah. They figured you'd only be looking at it as a kid. You're only looking from one side, and molding this piece would be easier only doing it from one side.
Cheaper, less plastic.
So then I needed to do 2 of them so that for the camera it would face and it would appear proper on both sides.
Gotcha. Did you make a beeline right for Power Rangers? Or you were like, oh, what's going on in X-Men today? What's going on starting a lineup?
Oh, as far as for work?
Like when you were walking down the aisle.
Oh, when I'm walking down the aisle. So if I'm walking down the aisle at Toys R Us, and we were a bunch of artists working together, and really cool guys. And so like on Wednesdays we go to comic book shops. Maybe Thursdays we go to the Toys R Us. And I'd be walking along, and honestly, it would be what interests me. Like, I'm a young man. I'm making money. I can buy the toys that I like. And it's like, hey, kid, stay in school and earn money, and you can buy toys too. So on this, like here, it's a little bit scratched up. But on this side, this would be the non-viewed side for the show. And so this side, I had my airbrush, and I'm painting it. I'm painting it with little fine paint brushes to put the detail on it to try to make it look less like a toy and more like a prop. And then my boss took it, and these wires in it, there were more wires through here, and actually shot fire out of the cannons and out of the mouth. So we would stuff little bits of probably like the magician paper that catches on fire easily. We'd stuff little bits of that in it. Then this would be attached to a battery so that he could, connect the leads, and then boom, 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 everything would fire. And on the inside, I cut out the bottom because we're replicating what happens in the Japanese footage.
Right.
So we need it to light up from below. So I need to cut out the bottom, put a piece of plexiglass in, and then we'll have the lights underneath it. And then what's this for?
A battery?
It's a stumper. Now, this was for a little bit of water and some dry ice. So we tuck it in the front.
There you go.
Up here underneath the neck, somewhere around there. And that way we'd get the lights from here. We get the dry ice, so a little bit of dry ice would be floating. And then one of these guys,
there it goes.
but with his arm,
lost from his arm.
he would and this isn't the one that was used in the show, but this would be on a giant, like a gimbal coming down and drop in.
Yeah, recreate. Because you would just show the feet.
You'd be looking down at it. In the actual footage, we drew more fire on it.
There we go. There's the fire.
Check all that out. So those are the same as it's coming forward. So that's me, an off left camera pulling it.
Okay.
And those are the mountain range. Same mountain range that we used in the background for this, just rearranged. You can see that there's that little bit of swirly, dry ice fog in there. And then, when we're clearly hiding the wires out the back and only shooting on one side, so you don't see that the guns aren't complete all the way around.
Inside, yeah. I always wondered about Titanus as a kid. It's like he shows up and he's like, everybody on in, pool's open, everybody. Like, what kind of life is this guy living? And then he doesn't have a ranger attached to him. He's just like hanging out.
He's around till someone needs him.
Shit got real. Come on, come need you now.
And did it come with this, or is this from something else?
That's from the Dragonzord.
So this would have come from a completely different toy, and then I glued it on because someone told me to. Because we needed it for the show.
When you were combining with this guy, the Ninjazord or the Shogunzord, Dragonzord is gone. He's sleeping under the water this point. So it makes
so that's why some people are upset when they see this shield on Titanus at this point in the story.
There needs to be like a Boom comic that explains how that happened. We need some background. Because, that's one of the unsolved mysteries of Power Rangers.
I think this just happened because it was like, it was on there in season 1, so I'll glue it on there now.
It looks cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, man. So did you ever get to see the actual props that they used in the Sentai?
The Thunder Megazord and the Tigerzord actually had a fight. And that didn't happen in the Japanese footage. For those, I guess they sent the suits over. We were there behind stage, and we got to watch them shoot the fight between the Tigerzord, because Rita took over the Tigerzord. And then made it fight the Thunderzord.
So the suit people were completely different from what you were doing?
Oh, completely different. Yeah. So I worked for a post-production facility in the visual effects department. So post-production would be someone shot the footage on their set or, on location somewhere. And then they take all the footage to the post-production facility to get it edited, to get it color corrected, to add audio, and then to duplicate, because you're making tapes, you're duplicating tapes.
Yeah.
And then they created a visual effects department before I got there. So I believe they didn't really have visual effects, or they did very little. And then with Power Rangers, they started a visual effects department at the post-production facility because Saban was going to have so many visual effects they needed done.
Yeah.
So we would go on set once in a while, and then this was a special occasion, so I think we're like, we want to go be there and just see the suit.
Sure.
Because we love suits. We love whatever they're doing. We're like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know the story of what was happening, but I think guys in suits tromping around cities is totally cool.
Right, yeah. It's not hard to follow. Two giant robots in cities. Oh, look at that. That's so unreal. Outside of Godzilla stuff, and there's no American-based shows that
really did that.
So unique.
No, that's true.
And I think that's part of why Power Rangers was such a big hit, because there was nothing else like it.
Nothing else was doing it.
All. They caught lightning in a bottle. There were so many things that just worked. Did you think that you would be talking about it 30 years later?
No clue. I did save these for a reason, because I saw how big the show was. And I'm like, so these things will be cool someday. But sitting here chatting with you, someone who watched the show when I was working on it, that never would have occurred to me that this would be that popular.
So we've talked about Power Rangers being 30 years old. To celebrate that, Hasbro did a was it 1 hour, 90-minute special on Netflix?
Yeah, I watched it.
You saw it? Okay.
Yeah.
Once a Ranger, they brought back some of the original Power Rangers to catch up with them. I'm not sure, in the canon of Power Rangers, how that all makes sense, but we don't ask too many questions. But the final battle, like with any good Power Ranger story, you need a Zord battle.
Of course.
So Hasbro, rather than going the traditional puppet route, they went with CGI, and they wanted to bring back some of those original Zords. So they had the original Dino Megazord. Okay, this is actually the best
Oh,
part.
okay.
So this
Right.
is these are all CGI, but this is mimicking those
Right,
original
right.
shots.
Yeah. That
So this
looks
actually
familiar
looks
to
pretty
me.
good. There's the volcano shot, and then what happened to his body?
Oh,
it's
it
a
changed.
little. He's very slender. He's on that Ozempic, I think. He's got short arms, and then it just looks.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's moving.
Yeah.
I don't know the science of walking on the moon, but I feel like it would be a little different.
Is that Slizzard?
That's like, yeah, they brought back Slizzard. They made him like Mecha Slizzard.
See, I'm super happy that I remembered that name.
Oh, look at the legs. It's just
Right.
all right.
It's very disappointing for
So
you.
people were upset that they didn't use a costume or a puppet or something.
Right.
Apparently, this was much cheaper than getting a costume.
I could see that.
Now, the funny thing here, this model is actually the model they use to create the toy. So now when you make toys, you create 3D models. It's all sculpted within a computer.
Okay.
So they were able to share those files to create this. So this Megazord actually looks very much like the
With the toy.
toy that they make. Yeah.
The aesthetic of the show, I think, calls for uppity things, and clearly they were trying to replicate that.
Right.
And like you said, like them appearing, they did a pretty good job. I mean, I can tell it's CG.
Sure.
I can tell that they didn't make puppets and actually shoot it. But at least it was a good attempt. But then, once it comes together as the Megazord, it is more disappointing
And maybe
to watch.
they wanted to do things.
And like Slizzard not being a guy in a suit, it's like, oh, come on.
I know.
I don't mind Rita or Robo Rita.
Wanna get serious?
She's pretty cool. I thought she was groovy.
This is all right.
Yeah? It seemed fine to me.
It's fine. This is interesting. The story of this is that they transformed the Rangers into miniature versions. And they held them in this little prison here. And it's not clear if the toys are Lightning Collection, which is what Hasbro calls their toys.
Okay.
Because you don't see the joints, so it's like, were they wrapped? Did they use...
Oh, to make them look more like people
Look like
and less
people,
like toys.
yeah. But you can tell from the helmets
Yeah.
that they're definitely at least the ones they have. So
For sure, in the show.
Toys make a lot of appearances in the show.
Yeah.
Toys are a big part of it.
Yeah.
That's so great. So really, if you own some of these original toys, you own actual prop replicas from...
Well, it's not a replica. This is
more than a
their
replica.
show.
The actual big.
This is the Zord.
This is the Zord. You
This
own
is the one.
Zord.
He's coming up, coming out of the volcano, right?
There you go.
So yeah, no, this is the guy who did it.
Wow.
Would you like to hold him?
I would like to hold with you. If I take this one with me, this would look nice behind me. Look at that. That's great.
All right, awesome. Well, we've been talking toys today with my new best friend, Paul Kelly. His show is
The Reluctant Adult Podcast.
awesome. We're Behind the Power with Rick Shick. Thanks for showing up. Bye.